Welcome to the Ecom Breakthrough Podcast. Are you ready to unlock the full potential and growth in your business? You've already crossed 7 figures in sales, but the challenge is knowing how to take your business to the next level. Join Josh Hadley, an 8-figure Ecomm business owner and investor, as he interviews highly successful business owners. Get ready, because you're going to learn specific actions you can take today to help your business reach its full potential and leave a lasting impact on the world.
Welcome to the Ecom Breakthrough Podcast. I'm your host, Josh Hadley, where I interview the top business leaders in e-commerce. Past guests include Kevin King, Michael E. Gerber, author of The E-Myth, and Roland Frazier. Today, I'm speaking with Ashley Kinkead, the founder and CEO at Private Label Mastery, and we're going to be talking a lot about her journey and her experience launching over 15,000 products on Amazon. This episode is brought to you by Ecom Breakthrough Consulting, where I help 7-figure companies grow to 8 figures and beyond. Listen, Ashley, I started my business back in 2015, and I grew it to an 8-figure brand in 7 years. But I made a lot of mistakes along the way that made the path of getting to 8 figures take a lot longer than I needed to. There were times where I doubted myself as a leader, whether my brand could survive or whether we could have the cash flow to continue to operate the business. I wish I would have had a mentor along the way to help me overcome those stumbling blocks and those obstacles faster and quicker. So to our listeners, those of you who have hit similar plateaus or obstacles and you're looking for the next steps to take your business to the next level, then go to ecombreakthrough.com to learn more. That's Ecomm with 2 M's. And as a special bonus to the podcast listeners, this month I'm giving away one $10,000 comprehensive business strategy audit session at no cost. All you need to do is email me at josh@ecombreakthrough.com and in your subject line say strategy audit. Then tell me why I should choose your business to work with for this month. And if you don't win this month, don't worry, because you'll be entered to win for future months to come. Today, I'm super excited to introduce you all to Ashley Kinkead. No other woman in the industry has worked with more 6- and 7-figure sellers than Ashley Kinkead. She is the founder and CEO of Private Label Mastery. She has personally launched over 15,000 products on Amazon and has generated $2.2 million in Amazon FBA sales. So with that introduction, welcome to the show, Ashley.
Well, thank you, Josh. It's a great introduction, very humbling, and I'm excited to be with you and excited to be on your show today. Thank you so much.
Ashley, I think everybody's going to be super interested to hear how in the world you have had the time and ability to launch 15,000 products on Amazon, and also some of the things that you've learned there. But before we get to all of that fun stuff, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your journey? How did you get into Amazon, and why did you continue to specialize in Amazon?
Well, that is such a great story. And yes, 15,000 products. Wow. I could spend the whole show, Josh, telling your listeners about what that looked like and how that's been for me over the last years. Actually, these last couple of months, I've really been reflecting on my journey. It's been an 8-year journey selling on Amazon. So a lot of people, when I come on these shows and share my story, I like to emphasize it's not an overnight thing. It's taken me almost a decade in e-commerce to have 15,000 products. But I started selling on Amazon in 2015, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners know Amazon was really different back those days. But I was unemployed. I was, looking for a way to support myself. Had never been an entrepreneur, had my own business, never really thought I could be an entrepreneur. But I started looking for ways to make money online, like so many of your listeners. So I was working just traditional job in my 20s here in Dallas too, and I went online and just started looking up ways to do e-commerce, ways to make money online. And that was when I discovered a Facebook group that introduced me to Amazon FBA. I was like, what is Amazon FBA? I've never heard of something like this, but it sounds pretty interesting. And I read about people who are making just huge businesses on Amazon. I didn't even know that was possible. I had shopped on Amazon, been an Amazon shopper for a long time, but I never thought, wow, a person can actually have an Amazon store. And so I just dived in. And I started out selling used books. And again, this was back in 2015, Josh, when anybody could have an Amazon store and you could just get started really easily.
Those are the good old days that everybody keeps reminiscing of. Oh, if only I would have gotten into Amazon back then, right?
Yeah, it was different. It was different, but it was just a different kind of journey for me. But I started selling used books, and that was my path. I actually started as a bookseller, and I loved selling books because I like to read books. And I live here in Dallas, where there's tons of, yard sales and garage sales and bookstores and things like that. And so it kind of worked out for me. But I just love the thrill of the hunt, like going out and figuring out something I could buy low and sell high on Amazon. And it kind of started for me, Josh, like I never could have dreamed what I would get to with Amazon, but it started for me just as a way to make some side hustle, like a side hustle. I think people in the industry say side hustle.
Right.
Making some side cash. I think, I'll make a few $1,000s with this. Let's see what this is. And then I just kind of got hooked on it. And I realized, wow, not only could I like replace my job with this, but I could actually like do something really amazing with this. So I built a really big team of booksellers here in Dallas. I had people sourcing for me, shopping for me. I went from like sending in like 10 books to Amazon to like 1,000 books to Amazon, and people would go out and source for me. And we had a little warehouse set up here in Dallas. This whole process took me about a year to build that little business. And I think at the biggest height I had like over $100,000 of books at Amazon.
Wow.
And, yeah, and I actually loved it. I seriously loved it. It was, so much fun after work to go out and, find these books. And, I'd go out and pay 50 cents for a book at Goodwill and sell it for $100. I mean, it's amazing you can start a business like that, like without really a storefront or any employees or anything like that. So that was my foray into it. And over the years, my journey progressed like a lot of Amazon sellers. I did a little arbitrage. I found wholesale accounts. I started doing online arbitrage, really got into Q4 and that kind of stuff with Amazon. And then eventually found my way to private labeling, which is what I do today. And private label just changed everything for me as a business owner. Realizing, wow, I didn't know I have to resell something else or be a wholesale account. I can actually create my own brand, create a trademark, create a website. I didn't know any of that stuff before I became an Amazon seller. So I started 2 private label brands on Amazon in the health and personal care space in the beauty category. And I had 8 private label SKUs. And so that built a 7-figure brand with those 2 brands. And it's just been a journey. It's been a journey. And yes, I've had over 15,000 products on Amazon in my own account. And today, gosh, we are behind tens of thousands of products on Amazon through our companies. So, and through all of our people that we work with every day. So it's been a journey, but I love to, just roll with the tides. And Amazon's just been a huge life changer for me in that I don't think I would have been successful if I had started anywhere else. Amazon kind of provided a platform for me to reach the world and realize, wow, I can do something really incredible. So I like to share Amazon with people, Josh, just because a lot of people listening to your show maybe don't have a skill or want to start a big consulting company like I have. I really recommend looking at, Amazon. It's a great way to get sales, get started. So it's been a fun journey for me. I have 2 companies. I'm currently a CEO at PLM, and that takes up a lot of time, but I'm really behind the scenes of a lot of Amazon accounts every day. So I have a lot of knowledge and insight to share about what people are doing successfully. And it all started by doing it myself. I've walked the ropes, I've been through it, been in the trenches, and Amazon's just a really great opportunity for people who, want to take this path. So that's a little bit of my story in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. Well, one of the biggest takeaways, and you started the conversation off with this, is by saying that, look, you're not an overnight success, right? And even for myself, right, as an 8-figure brand owner, this didn't happen overnight, right? My journey was over the course of 7 years. And so everybody needs to understand that, if you're just starting out, you can't look at, somebody like Ashley and myself and be like, well, why am I not there tomorrow? Right? You have to understand that each of us have gone through very different paths that have kind of just been building blocks to get us to where we are today. And so every entrepreneur's journey is going to be different, and that comparison game can be very damaging for a lot of entrepreneurs that just continue to compare themselves to other people and use that as their measuring stick. One of my favorite things, though, is to actually, in order to kind of measure your success, is measure it against yourself, where were you at the same time last year, right? And you could say, hey, guess what? Last year, I was just working, my regular 9-to-5 job, salaried, but a year later, guess what? I have $50,000 coming through of a side hustle that was never happening before. That is huge. That's a huge step. And so I think that although $50,000 is small relative to 8 figures, that doesn't matter. It's that personal progress that you need to see. And that's going to build momentum so that, one day that $50,000 business or side hustle could turn into an 8-figure brand if you continue to cast that vision and build and grow it.
I love that. I love how I love that you brought that up. Looking back on a year, I think that's so huge, and nothing wrong with $50,000 in a business. That's incredible just in a year to bring in something like that. So I completely agree, Josh.
Yeah. Ashley, I want to dive into some of the tactics and strategies that you've seen. I mean, you say, as you talk about, private label mastery, the group, you've kind of touched and have an impact on tens of thousands of products that are currently on Amazon right now. You see what's working, what's not working. So my question to you, Ashley, right now, what is working on Amazon? If somebody wants to increase their revenue on Amazon with a product, what are some of the strategies that you're seeing as being impactful to continue to grow those businesses on Amazon?
Great question. A few key things I think are really important in 2023. We really believe in, Josh, differentiation at PLM. It's one of our big values when we launch products. And that might sound like a big scary word to someone. A differentiation essentially doing something a little bit innovative on the platform. So all of our products are differentiated, all of our tens of thousands of products. So what that means is we don't just launch silicone gloves that is like every other silicone glove on Amazon. We'll do something slightly different color, different size, different ingredients, different, components in the product. So we differentiate 99% of our products. So it really allows you just to have a little bit of an edge over all the other sellers in 2023. Not to say you can't just sell the exact same thing that's already on the platform. You can. But we strive for people to have a long-term sellable asset, a business asset of their own. That's something that's a true brand on Amazon. So we differentiate our products. It takes a little bit more time on the front end to maybe find that opportunity or to research that opportunity, but differentiation, as well as, getting a trademark, really thinking of your business as a brand. I think I didn't think of my business as a brand when I started selling on Amazon. I just, looked at a widget on Jungle Scout and thought I'm going to sell that thing and just put it on Amazon and put a box on it, put a label on it. But today, we really think about Amazon as a brand, building our brand, building a brand asset. It does take some time to get to that place, but thinking of your store as a long-term sellable asset that you can actually get exit offers to. I was speaking with a good friend of mine, Rebecca, who built a 7-figure brand that she sold on Amazon, and she really thinks that way. It took her 5 years to get to a couple of brands on Amazon that could exit, that could sell. So thinking of your products as a catalog of products, a real brand longevity around it, as well as PPC. Gosh, pay-per-click is really important on 2023. And I think it's really important to understand your campaigns and understand the strategy around PPC. So those are the big 3 things: differentiating, thinking of your brand, your product as a part of a brand, a real catalog that you can actually eventually exit from if you'd like to, or create something off of Amazon. And then 3 would be just really mastering pay-per-click. I would say what I see in Amazon stores today, the people that do really well at the 7 and 8 figure mark, they have a strong understanding of PPC, not only understanding, but either an outside partner that runs their PPC for them, or an agency or a service or a software. There's so many out there, but I do think pay-per-click is pay-per-click is a really key component of success on Amazon. So if you get those 3 things down, I think you can really build a 7-figure brand in 2023.
Yeah, Ashley, I think those are great points. And I agree. All of them are very important. What I would love to do now is let's dive deeper into each of these. And Ashley, with your experience working with lots of brands and private label mastery, you've seen probably different case studies come through. Now, you don't have to share any specific brand names, but I would love for you to share some of the case studies that you've seen of, product differentiation, people that have built their brands. What are some of the tactics that they've done? And then with PPC. So let's dive into the weeds now, and let's go all the way back to number one, product differentiation, which I believe is truly number one on Amazon. I think long gone are the days of just launching Me Too products. You've got to bring something new and different to the platform in order to have a greater return of success. So, Ashley, what are your tips and strategies as it relates to differentiating your product so that you can grow for future sales?
Sure. I like to give my direct example of my private label product and how I differentiated them. I used to do a retail arbitrage of bath soaps and bath bombs, going out and buying bath bombs for $3 to $5 retail and reselling them on Amazon. That was kind of my market research for my private label products. And I realized, wow, I can source these really cheap and Amazon customers will pay a really premium price. But then I started to dig deeper and realize, wow, I can put jewelry inside of these soaps and these bath bombs. And I was one of the first sellers on Amazon of like specialty bath bombs and soaps. And so that was how I differentiated my product, was looking at what was already on Amazon and then researching what people were searching for that just wasn't on Amazon and filling that gap and creating kind of a premium bath bomb brand. That was my brand of bath bombs and soaps. And so that's how I like to share of how I differentiate products. I look at what's already on Amazon, and then I find those little gaps of things that either aren't on Amazon or the quality isn't quite up to what I would expect as an Amazon shopper. So I've seen that in every category on Amazon. We're seeing people, it could be so simple. A lot of times I think sellers overthink it, Josh. Differentiation, they think I have to invent something or get a patent. It literally can be a color change, a multi-pack change, a bundling change, just finding a slightly improved component. I like to read Amazon reviews and see products that just aren't up to quality on Amazon and then make the product slightly better. So it's not a big change. It literally can just be a small change, a small improvement from what's already on Amazon, or just thinking like a customer. A lot of our clients, they're users of their products. They know what people are searching for. So they can think in that way of, I would use this product slightly differently. I'll give you an example of pickleball. We have a student launching a pickleball product, and she went on Amazon, and pickleball is like a super popular sport right now. And she is private labeling a whole brand of pickleball athletic products. And she realized, wow, I really want to carry my cooler to the pickleball court. I would love if my racket was actually attachable to the cooler. So she's crushing it with her pickleball cooler with a little racket attached to it. So it's like thinking about those opportunities and those trends. If you love pickleball and that's a burgeoning trend on Amazon, what would you, as a user of that product, like to add or carry? I think that's really just kind of how to think about it.
I love that, Ashley. And those are some very creative ideas. And I love that. This is so important. And like you said, it doesn't need to be game changing, but it needs to be different, because right now, if you go to Amazon, you just see a lot of the same stuff when you scroll down. And so a small piece of differentiation is going to make your product really stand out amongst the sea of everybody else trying to create Me Too products. Ashley, my question here is, if somebody's struggling for ideas to come up with, like, how do I differentiate my product? You talked about, hey, maybe, I look at Amazon and I compare it to other websites, or I do some Google searching and I see that there's like an underserved area or niche within that market. Could you expound on that a little bit more? Maybe share what are some of those websites that you go to say, hey, wow, something's crushing it over here, but it's completely missing on Amazon.
Absolutely. I started with Etsy. Etsy, we have a lot of our platform, members of our platform who sell on Etsy. I like to look at products that are on Etsy that aren't on Amazon. And there's a lot of them actually that are selling really, really well. And for whatever reason, they're not on the Amazon platform. So we do a lot of cross research on Etsy, on eBay, on Rakuten, on these different, platforms. But Etsy was always my go-to as a bath bombs and soap natural cosmetics manufacturer. I would look at products that were, again, on Etsy, selling, had huge ratings, huge reviews, huge revenue, and literally would either not be on Amazon or that exact product or unique component would not be on Amazon. So Etsy, really any other major marketplace, Walmart, Walmart's a great place as well. We have a lot of, clients that sell on Walmart too.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. Just a little golden nugget where you find something doing really well, right, over here, and then bring it to your market. So my actionable advice and strategy for our listeners would be, hey, take a search term, put it into Amazon, put it into Etsy, put it into eBay, put it onto Walmart, put it into Target, put it onto Costco, like keep going down the list of different retailers and put that exact same search term into all of those websites, see what spits back, right? And see if you can find a common pattern of, wow, I keep seeing this specific product or type of product on all these other channels, but for whatever reason, I'm not seeing it on Amazon. That could be a really good indication of like, hey, there's room for some extra differentiation here.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's just so much, and you don't even have to have a software necessarily to do that. Back in the day, I didn't have a Jungle Scout or a Helium 10, but we love Helium 10. We have a lot of our members that love like X-Ray and Black Box and those kinds of tools with that software. It's just a tip.
Yep. And any manual work that you do, here's another kind of gold nugget. Just going to a physical product, like a physical retailer, and walking down the store aisles and seeing what you see on store shelves can be very different and spark a lot of ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise, because everybody else in the world has access to Helium 10, Jungle Scout, and they all do the same stuff. Everybody goes in and it's like, give me a search term with this amount of volume and the reviews are low and there's this amount of revenue being done in that product category. And it's like, everybody's getting that, right? So just a little bit of extra legwork that you do can go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Just for my example, I would go out to retail North Park Mall here in Dallas and do market research. Not everyone's willing to do that, but yep. Having that thinking, I love how you think a little bit outside the box, Josh. I think that really helps as an entrepreneur. So makes
a huge difference, and always go the extra mile. It's one of the core values that we have in our business, because we believe that 90% of the competition is not willing to go the extra mile. They just want to get it just good enough to where they could check the box that it's done. But you go the extra mile, that's when you turn things into a real thriving brand, which kind of parlays into the next question here. What are some strategies that you have seen others implement, or even for yourself, that allows you to actually build a real brand on Amazon, and why that can have such a big impact on growing your revenue on Amazon?
Great question. A+ content. I think A+ content is super important, and a lot of our coaches actually just got back from Prosper conference in Vegas, and they're so excited about A+ content. So I think A+ content, like really thinking of your Amazon listing as a brand, and really just visualizing what your product page can look like. So A+ content, super important, as well as, thinking of your brand off Amazon as well, your website, your social media presence, those kinds of elements as well. And that's not something, Josh, that has to happen like on day one. We don't recommend that, but a year down the road, we like to see people come in. We see people come in, no product, and a year later, they do have these things. They have A+ content. They have brand registry. So I would say for your listeners who are really thinking about building a brand, I'd focus on two things: A+ content and brand registry.
Why is A+ content so important?
Well, conversions are so important. We love to monitor our conversion rate inside all of our Amazon products. So you want, a lot of people who click your page to actually purchase the product. So A+ content just gives you so much more visibility on the platform. It's going to increase your conversion rate, which increases your sales velocity, which increases your your placement on the product page. So A+ content just gives you a lot of benefits and advantages on the Amazon platform. So I really just encourage your listeners to research that a bit more. It's a bit of a process, to my knowledge, to get A+ content today, but we're really big on, pursuing those methods.
Yeah. From your experience, have you seen in the data that the conversion rate does increase after somebody rolls out A+ content? I know on Amazon, they promote, hey, experience a 15% conversion rate increase, but that's Amazon, and they're always going to feed you the best data they could possibly come up with. So I'm interested, have you seen the actual data and see, like, I have seen that statistically, like A+ content does increase conversions?
Absolutely. I don't know that we've seen 15%, but we've seen 5 to 10% increases across our listings. So it definitely has a big play, as well as photos. We've seen photos and videos on the listing just to be the biggest needle mover in addition to A+ content. So I'm not sure on your listings, Josh, but we've seen a 5 to 10% increase, which is huge. Yeah. Which is absolutely huge. I'm not aware of a 15% jump, but 5 to 10%.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's definitely worth it. Like you said, it's not something you need from day one to launch, but it's something that could layer on that brand building strategy. Ashley, is there anything that you do specifically with any of your clients to build their brand off of Amazon, and any strategies there?
Yeah, absolutely. And, there's a lot of things. One is just building our email list. We do advocate like building an email list off of Amazon that comes to organic traffic to our website. So insert cards, just like having proper packaging on your products. So although, Amazon customers are their customers, and we do like respect that, there's nothing wrong with actually like getting, traffic to your website and building a brand off Amazon as well. So, we don't, in the beginning, recommend doing that. I like to personally, I recommend, Josh, people really just focus on the Amazon platform until they're making like at least $10,000 a month in revenue. But once you've really built that system and you've got that good product and that good supplier and that good manufacturer, you can start thinking about taking it off Amazon. But having an email list, building a social media presence. We have some students doing super well, just like with simple TikTok videos, Instagram Reels, Instagram Lives. That's kind of advanced private label. But I do think it's really important as you go to start thinking of, building your email list, building your phone database, being able to get some customers' insights and information. So I'm not sure when you, Josh, started to think in that way of your brand. I thought of it that way from the beginning. Yeah. When I private labeled on Amazon, I was always thinking about how can I get, coupons? How can I get customers to my website? How can I get customers, come to my website and opt in? So it's definitely important.
Yeah, I completely agree. And especially on that, the product packaging and the insert card. It's not against TOS on Amazon. You're able to do this. Think of the big brand names like Kraft Foods or Mondelez, right? Guess what website is printed on their product packaging? It's their own brand, right? And so Amazon's not going to penalize Kraft Foods or Mondelez and say, hey, I'm sorry, but you need to reformat all of your packaging. You can't have your website on there. So let's dispel that myth to begin with. But Ashley, are there any like advanced strategies or cool tactics that you've seen in terms of how people have used insert cards or a QR code on a product label to allow them to grow their brand, an email list off of Amazon?
Sure. I think QR codes are great. We do a lot of QR codes as well as, just a simple link. It could be a real simple link. You want to make it simple. I would say that's the most advanced, but also simple tip. Just make it really simple and clear for people what to do on the insert card. Sometimes I open insert cards on Amazon products and it's not really like clear what to do. Have a little guide, have a little downloadable, have a little video that people need to click on to be able to use your product. Just make it simple, and that's going to drive enough traffic to your insert card. So I like really simple insert cards. I mean, our insert cards can literally be a white card with a black QR code. That's it. Like, hey, click this link, watch a QR code, and get a video on your product. So ideally something that people need to watch to use your product, some kind of instructional video or kind of FAQ video, I think is really, really key. As long as you make it simple and make it just key to the usage of the product. Watch this simple walkthrough video. It can be very, very simple, but the more simple it is, I think the more conversions you get on the insert card. That's what we've seen. Right. And then before they watch the video, they have to enter their email address and name. I like that. And then what type of promotions are you sending them once you have them on your list? Well, we'll do really simple things. It can be come back for your next order coupons. We do mostly coupon codes. So if you come back, you get 50% off your next order, buy one, get one free. So we love to give coupon codes for their next order. That's what we've done typically with our insert cards is the coupon codes.
Awesome. Makes a lot of sense. Very good. Let's move into this third strategy. You talked about PPC being fundamental in allowing businesses to continue to grow and succeed on Amazon. So tell me more about some of the PPC strategies that you see working today.
Well, again, I'm really an advocate of having someone else do it for you. So a lot of times I see, Josh, in my opinion, sellers kind of make the mistake of like trying to learn everything about PPC and run it themselves. Most of our students who are like in the 7 to 8 figure realm, they either have an external agency that manages their PPC, or they use some kind of software to help them automate PPC. So I think you really need to understand, you need a bit more of a budget with PPC today. Like, the days of 3-cent clicks, I think, are a little bit past us. So you need to have more of a budget to launch a PPC product on Amazon. And also you really need to, invest in someone to help you, whether it's training from you guys, Josh, whatever training or course or program you want to take. Today in 2023, you have to have an understanding of PPC. So I would just encourage people to educate yourself, and to maybe look at someone to help you manage your PPC so that you can focus on building your brand, doing product research. Things are going to move the lever. But there's so many different strategies, Josh. We have different ways that we instruct our students to set up their campaign. But personally, for our ads, I have someone else manage it for us and send us a report. So it ultimately just comes down to like knowing it's really important, having that budget, and then also investing in either your education or for someone else to help you. I do think today, like PPC is a bit more advanced, and you have to really, hone that in a bit more.
Yeah, I completely agree that PPC is not something that you can turn a blind eye to. PPC is vital, and Amazon is becoming much more of a pay to play type of platform. And so if you think you can just, hide under your bed covers and pull them over your head and ignore PPC and still have a thriving business on Amazon, you'll be sorely disappointed when other sellers that are more sophisticated are running targeted ads on top of your product details page. And you just start to lose organic ranking over time because you don't have those PPC sales to continue to support it. With that being said, Ashley, one thing, a lot of people have started using PPC as a primary component of their launch strategy. And so I know since 2015, the launch strategies on Amazon have changed a lot, from search, find, buy, giveaways, and things like that. Are there any things that are working for you and your private label clients to launch their products that has been working well to help them get ranked quickly?
I think just, having the funds up front is key. We like to have at least like $100 a day budget for a PPC launch. So having those funds, and also just, key setup, having your campaign set up correctly, having the right targeting set up, all of those things. I think setup on the front end is just pretty important. And our PPC coach at our company always just talks about it's okay to break even. It's okay to not have a profitable campaign. So don't give up too early. Don't give up too early when you're launching your first PPC campaign. Give it some time. It can take about 30 days to really, build out a good, solid PPC campaign. But don't worry if you don't make money on the front end. If your PPC campaign isn't very profitable in the beginning, we often will see, campaigns kind of break even or not be that profitable. Don't give up, trust the process, and, recognize that you're testing a product. We do a lot of product testing. You're testing a product, you're getting that valuable data that you can then use to optimize your campaign as you go.
Yeah, Ashley, I want to echo exactly what you talked about there of when you launch, make sure you utilize that advertising data as your testing data. Look at it and learn from it. Okay. There's a couple good podcast episodes that I want to point people towards. So Matt Altman, who is on the podcast, go check out his episode, because what he talked about in his launch strategy is how important that conversion rate is. And so when you launch on Amazon and you start running your ads from day one, from that first week, you should have a clear indication as to whether hey, there's some room to run with this particular product. Let's keep going. Even if I'm losing money on the front end of PPC, you can be confident if you have a conversion rate for your product that is higher than the industry average or that category average. And Destiny Wishon at Better AMS, she was recently on the podcast as well. And what she had talked about is using the inside of Seller Central in your advertising console. If you click on one of the reports or insights, it's brand metrics. If you pull that report up, you'll be able to see at a category level, what is the average conversion rate for everybody in this particular product category. And then you'll know, take your product conversion rate for those PPC orders, compare that to the category average. If it is higher, keep pouring gasoline on that fire. If it's not, and you're only a couple percentage points off, maybe there's some listing optimizations you could do, which goes back to, talked about A+ content, videos, adding secondary images, the copy, right? And if you're way far off from that average conversion rate, maybe that's one of the products that you just need to kill, because like myself, and I think Ashley, with your experience launching thousands of products, I've had a lot of losers along the way at the same token, and not being married to an idea just because I love it and I'm going to force it to work, I think is one of the most important things that everybody needs to take away is don't be married to something. Let the data prove stuff out and just keep testing, create new product ideas, launch them, see what works, kill the ones that don't work, and don't worry about them. Learn from those mistakes, figure out why they didn't succeed, and move on from there. Is there anything else you would add to that, Ashley?
I completely agree. I think you have to be willing to kind of move fast and break things, so to speak, and be okay with failure. I think a lot of people who are new to entrepreneurship, Josh, think of a bad product as a failure. And if you can just overcome that mentally and see that it's all a part of the process, you're going to have some duds. I've had a lot of duds, products that didn't work out or weren't profitable on Amazon. It's just part of the process. And the people I see, Josh, who I work with, who have 7- and 8-figure Amazon businesses, are just really resilient in that mentality you just described. So they're always testing new products. They're thinking of, long-term play with, going through lots of different products and just moving fast through the ones that don't work out and sticking with the ones that do. So,
yep, I completely agree. One of the biggest growth levers for any Amazon brand or any e-commerce brand is coming out with new products on a regular basis. That's your biggest growth lever. So where should you focus most of your time? New product ideation, right? If there's one key role that you could hire and train for, it'd be like, find somebody that could assist you with that. Because if you could unlock that, you can continue to come out with more and more and more products, which will allow your business to scale faster and faster.
Yeah, 100% agree. That's, your money-making skill is product ideation, product development, launching new products. So the most time and energy you can put into that, as well as training yourself to be good at that skill. Everything else, you should figure out how to pay someone how to do that, or outsource or automate, whether it's shipping or taping boxes or, pre-pricing software. Like, put most of your energy into the front end of your business, being really good at the entrepreneurial side of product ideation and things like that. So agree, Josh, 100%.
I love it. Well, Ashley, this has been such a fun conversation. I love to leave the audience with 3 actionable takeaways from each episode. Sure. And here are the actionable takeaways that I've noted, Ashley. Let me know if you think I'm missing something. But number 1, when you want to build a brand or generate sales on Amazon, the first thing you have to focus on is product differentiation. So my action item here is for people to do the simple exercises that we just walked through, which is A, use a particular keyword and then go search that exact same keyword across many different retailers online. And secondly, actually go to physical retail stores, go walk down the aisles and see what stands out to you. Compare that to what you are seeing on the online marketplaces today and see if you could bring something new and innovative to those, because that is where you're going to have greater success than when you just create another Me Too product. Action item number 2 is in creating a real brand from the get-go. And I see getting brand registry is number one across the board. If you're just starting out, like, you've got to get brand registry because it's going to give you access to unreal amounts of data that you'll need to continue to pursue your journey. But implementing A+ content and a storefront, those are some of the biggest opportunities where you're going to take up more real estate on your Amazon detail page, which is going to push competitors further down the page, which is going to help you in your conversion rates as well. But then there's a console or a section within A+ content where you can feature your other products from your product category. And so go ahead and promote your other related products inside your detail page. And then that will link them to more products, can link them to your storefront where they can shop more. They stay more within your product detail pages rather than spending time on your competitors. That is super important. And then the last step would be your third action item is implementing PPC strategies. And like you said, Ashley, either you need to do this yourself or you need to find a partner that can execute on these strategies. We had George Moreras from Clear Ads on the podcast recently. And again, he shared a lot of great knowledge as to, number one, how to vet different PPC agencies, what you should be looking out for. And then secondly, some of the strategies you want to make sure that those agencies are actually following to see if they know their stuff when it comes to PPC. So if you want a better understanding of how to kind of vet experts, because anybody can claim to be a PPC expert, but the proof is in the pudding. He gave you a really good checklist to walk through and better understand that. So go check out George's episode. I think it's just a couple prior to this one. Ashley, what else is there that we haven't covered that you think our audience needs to hear?
Well, gosh, I think, well, first of all, you're just such a value-adding host, Josh, but I think that I just want people to be excited by the opportunity of selling on Amazon and really just realizing what an incredible opportunity is. Differentiate your product. Think about your business like a true brand and just, get out there and, like you said, focus on the income generating side of your business, getting best at your best skill, which is that product research and differentiation on the front end. So yeah, I hope people just get excited. I hope people get excited and inspired to do this and think about what life can look like if you at the end of this year if you take action. So
I love that. Yep, and then measure your progress against yourself and not anybody else, right?
That's great. Love that.
All right, Ashley, I love to ask each guest the following 3 questions. So here they are. Number 1, what has been the most influential book that you've read and why?
I'm a big fan of Patrick Lencioni's leadership books. Have you read those?
I have not specifically. So shed some light on us all.
Yeah, Patrick Lencioni, he's at our company. We really push his books a lot to our team. It's just some of the most popular leadership books out there. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team, The Advantage. So we like to read 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. I think that's really good for Amazon sellers who, what I often find, Josh, is Amazon sellers aren't comfortable with building a team or having their first hire. But if you're going to grow to the level of your business or my business, you're going to have to learn how to work with people and get out of product research and build a team. So I'm a big fan of Patrick Lencioni's leadership books. 5 Dysfunctions of a Team is one of my all-time favorite leadership books. So if you're out there and maybe never thought of yourself as a leader or had a business, I would start with that book, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team.
Awesome. That is a great recommendation. I've already started jotting down some notes. One I'm going to get into.
Yeah.
Ashley, question number 2 here is, what is your favorite productivity tool or software tool that you've recently been using and seeing success with?
We love Slack at our company. I know a lot of Amazon sellers don't use Slack, but when you have as many employees and team members as we do at PLM, you've got to communicate with your team. So I'm a big Slack user. If you've got a couple team members, I'd really recommend just getting set up on Slack, getting out of email, getting out of, phone calls. You need to have some kind of centralized tool. So I live in Slack. I wouldn't say it makes me more productive, Josh, but it helps me get the day through. So I like Slack.
And final question, who is somebody that you admire or respect the most in the e-commerce space that you would recommend other sellers should be following?
Oh gosh, I recommend anyone, Josh, who puts themselves out there and teaches e-commerce. It's not an easy thing to do, but I'm a big fan of Jim Cockram. If you want to go check out his course, he's got a great course, the Proven Amazon course. He's a great Facebook group. I haven't been in it in a while, but I think it's still called My Silent Team. He was someone who really inspired me to start my Amazon business and always encouraged me even when I didn't think it was possible. So Jim Cockram, he's got a podcast too, the Proven Amazon course podcast. So Jim Cockram's a good one.
Awesome. Very good recommendations. Now, Ashley, where can people go to learn more about all the amazing things that you have going on? Tell us more about Private Label Mastery and where people could reach out to you and learn more from you.
Sure. Well, anyone can go get my book. It's at 99 cents on Amazon. It's called $1 Million Ecom Secrets. But I've also got a free copy of my book for your listeners if they want to head to our website. It's ashleykinkead.com/welcome. There's a free copy, digital copy you can download. My book is cool because it's really short. You can read the whole book in about an hour, and it covers all of my private label brands, photos, and everything. So if you want to see behind the scenes, you can check out my book. I've also got a pretty little podcast too. It's called the Private Label Mastery Podcast. We're a top-ranked podcast for Amazon sellers. So the Private Label Mastery Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, as well as my book. We'd love to bring you in through either of those two channels and ultimately just bring you really good training and education. So I would head over to our podcast.
Awesome. Everybody loves to hear another podcast recommendation. That's always my favorite. I'm always on the lookout for another good podcast. So go check out the Private Label Mastery Podcast. And Ashley, thank you so much for sharing your valuable insights and experience with us today. And thanks again for your time.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you for listening. Visit ecommbreakthrough.com for more information. If you've enjoyed today's episode, the best way you can show your appreciation is by clicking the subscribe button and quickly leaving a review. See you again next time.